Well, if you want to know why we argue with people, it's very simple. Because we all watch a different movie. Seriously, okay, think about that. What you perceive, the whole reality, is not what is really happening. So, the things that you see, you don't see. Certain electromagnetic waves go to our eyes and our eyes can detect them, and that is transferred into electrical signal that goes into our brain. Certain vibrations of the air can be translated by our ears into electrical signal, and it goes to the brain. The same goes for things we can feel, touch, smell. They are kind of vibrations, elements, things that can be translated into electrical impulses that go into our brain. And our brain then does something with it and creates other electrical signals, and through some black magic, mystery, we don't know how it works, we kind of suddenly see, or we think we see, hear, smell and touch, etc., which is incredible if you think about it. Just electrical impulses. There's nothing else happening. The brain cannot see anything. The brain cannot hear anything. The brain only gets electrical impulses from various sensors all over our body. And you know what? This is not really a reality. This is just a projection of the reality that the brain creates. And also the brain doesn't have all data, because we cannot perceive X-rays, Wi-Fi, we cannot perceive ultraviolet, we cannot perceive ultrasounds, and all sorts of other things we cannot perceive, yes? So the brain creates this kind of a projection of the reality around us, and that's what we can only perceive. But we assume that this is the reality, this is what it is. So sometimes, the brain makes a mistake, misinterprets things, and we see something that didn't happen there. Or we hear something, someone says 5, we hear 4, or something completely different. Now, so that's kind of one area where we see a different movie. But there is also another area which is much more important. And you should already know what it is. So a human being is a meaning-making machine. Did you know that? I think you did. We all make meanings, we give meanings to things, we have opinions about this. So for example, right now, you already have an opinion about what I'm saying. Even if you don't think about it consciously, it's somewhere in the background. And that opinion creates your reaction to me. So if I'm talking to you, I already have some kind of opinion about the camera, the recording, the person that will be watching it, and hence my behavior. Hence the way I, gesticulate, all my gestures, hence my appearance, everything, it's given by the meaning I give to the whole process and to whatever's behind that. Okay, you get it? So we all have an opinion. And right now, you're not really listening to what I'm saying. You're listening to really your opinion about what I'm saying. Can you see it? Can you get it? Okay, so now imagine you have two people watching two different movies, and sometimes those movies, coincidentally, they happen to be very similar, and sometimes they are very different. So imagine I'm standing here watching on one screen one movie, and there is someone next to me on another screen watching another movie, a very different movie, and I'm saying, oh, look at this guy, he's like really good, what he did was very good. And this person looks at another movie and says, what are you talking about? There's something very different happening, and the guy there is a total jerk, And I said, what? And I said, what do you mean? He is actually a very good guy. And I can see this person is watching a different movie. This person can see I'm watching a different movie, and we are still arguing. And that's what's really happening in the real life. But we do not acknowledge that we are watching two different movies because we think we are watching the same movie. So next time you have an argument with someone, or someone starts an argument and you notice this early, you can say, sorry, what movie are you actually watching? And that person will probably be like, what? And you can say, well, because the movie I'm watching is that this is happening. So for example, let's say that you did something. Let's say you said, oh, the grass hasn't been cut, hasn't been mowed. And the other person hears, what does the other person hears? Oh, you're a loser, or you do not perform your duties properly, you haven't mowed the grass, it's blah, 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 blah. So what you could say, for example, So again, you ask them, so what movie are you watching? What movie? Because I'm watching the movie in which one guy just made an observation. He noticed that the grass is not really cut at all, it's just growing, and he just made an observation aloud. He just said, oh, the grass is not cut. And in the same movie, the other person started being, very aggressive, defensive, I think we say, because of that. So that's the movie I'm watching. What movie are you watching? And then the person will say, well, I'm watching a movie, and they will tell you whatever the movie they are watching. And just this technique, by removing ourselves from this and describing this in a third person, we're watching the movie, removes kind of emotions from it, and both parties have a chance to examine what was actually happening in the mind. So that's a very good technique. So I suggest you do that. Now, what's the important bit? Is to catch yourself when you have an argument with someone, and ideally at the very beginning, so you can ask them the question. You can ask the other person the question, excuse me, what movie are you watching? Or something like this. Use your own words, or if you speak another language, think in advance what kind of a question you will actually ask, because it might sound weird and you need to be prepared to explain yourself. Okay, cool. I know this was helpful. Thanks for sharing, subscribing, and blah, 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 blah. Make sure you check my other videos, my tech channel as well, and other channels if you like me. I hope you do, because that's why you're watching it. So have a great one. Cheers.